Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chestnut Channel. Thanks so much for being back with us again. It is Mackintosh month. There's 12 Hatton clans and 12 months in the year. I hope you've been following along. So right now we're in the middle of Mackintosh month. A good friend of mine, Carl McIntosh, is here with me today. I'm so glad to see Carl. I've known him for many years through the Clan Mackintosh. He was the president of Clan Mackintosh North America, as was I. He's a former dean at USC Sumter in South Carolina. Thanks so much for being here, Carl. I guess we're going to delve into some history of Mackintosh, are we?
Sure. I'm glad to be here with you, Ray. It's really exciting to be a part of this wonderful series that you have, and I like the use of touch not a lot. That's a good thing since it is our motto. The other day I saw a website where they were using the McPherson, which says touch not the cat but a glove, and ours is touch not the cat but a glove.
Yep.
I'm always That's always interesting to me how people get that mixed up.
Right. Yeah, I try to invite people on that have a certain knowledge, a certain sort of a unique slant on Hatton and some of the clans and different things. And I think I've
Right.
selected you correctly. I know you're a big history buff, very knowledgeable about some of the events that went on in the early formation of the U.S. Um, so I guess we're gonna be down in your area of South Carolina, Georgia, in the what period of time, Carl?
Well, we can start talking a little bit about Georgia. The Oglethorpe settled Georgia in 1732.
Yes.
That's when he was given the authority to establish it as a colony.
Yep.
And initially, they were going to set it up as a penal colony, but Oglethorpe sort of avoided that and really tried to recruit more people from just the general population, and in particular Highland Scots. He was very specific about trying to recruit as many Highland Scots as he could to come to the colony and help him to establish it.
Right.
Uh, the other things, I don't know the time periods, but generally, the Scottish migrations were divided into sort of three regions. Um, there were what we refer to as the Cape Fear Scots, and those were Scots that came into North Carolina and came up the Cape Fear River that way.
Right.
Uh, at one time in that part of North Carolina, as I understand it, in the eastern part of the state, they had the largest uh, number of people who were still speaking Gaelic down there, or
All
Gaelic.
right.
And then there was another group that came in through Virginia. Actually, one of my great grandfathers, he came over after the 1715 uprising
Hmm.
and was sent to Goochland, Virginia, as an indentured servant. And the Great Wagon Road, have you heard of that term before?
Yes.
Yeah, so he came down, he and I guess other of my ancestors came down the Great Wagon Road and began to settle in North Carolina, uh,
Okay.
especially in the mountains of North Carolina. That's why there's a lot of Scots.
Yes.
Uh, my family settled or were living in Burnsville, North Carolina, and it's very much like the Highlands of Scotland, and they've been there for a long time. Uh, and I've always thought that the reason they liked that area so much was because it was like the Highlands of Scotland. Although again, they were coming from different places, but I think most of my family probably came down the Great Wagon Road.
Hmm.
Although, if you go back and you look at the history of Georgia in particular, and the relationship between the Native Americans and the Scottish folks that were there, it's pretty remarkable how all those things transpired. And the when the Trail of Tears started, I believe that was around 1850 in that period of time. Um, and Andrew Jackson ordered all these Native American Indian tribes to be sent out to the Midwest, out to Oklahoma,
Yes.
primarily to be settled on reservations.
Hmm.
The I imagine that some of those folks along the way didn't make it all the way, or a lot of them died, of course, but
Yes.
some of them just stayed, or would have gotten off of the out of captivity, and maybe some of those people would have settled in the mountains of western North Carolina. And of course,
Yep.
a lot of people confuse the Creek Nation and the Cherokee Nation. They were sort of the same at one time. They were definitely intertwined, and of course the Cherokees. Uh, this one young Cherokee, I don't remember his name or know his name, but he was an attorney, and he went to, obviously went to law school, and he actually took the whole uh, business of Cherokee land all the way to the Supreme Court. And as
Hmm.
I understand it, the Supreme Court ruled in his favor, but Andrew Jackson just ignored the Supreme Court and did what he wanted to do anyway.
Right.
So that's kind of the basics. I don't know what else you want
So,
to
so
discuss.
right. So Oglethorpe is planning basically, no matter who he's using to do it, they want him to create a buffer between the Spanish in Florida. Is this what's going on, Carl? And Spanish in Florida and South Carolina, which was largely settled now, and Georgia was not at this point, right? Or at least it was further along, I want to say.
Uh, yeah, I think it's safe to say that Charleston had been settled a little earlier than eventually Savannah.
Yep.
And so the English selected Oglethorpe. I don't know whether he asked to do it, or how it happened, but
Right.
he was charged with settling Georgia. And yes, one of the reasons they wanted to do that, wanted to establish something in Georgia, was to prevent the Spanish from moving north. And it's real interesting uh, if you go to Georgia, there are a lot of islands that have Spanish names. Because
Yep.
the Spanish had in fact been in that area,
Hmm.
because back then they called it La Florida. Uh,
Yes.
Florida and Georgia were really part of that the whole Spanish settlement in there. Although again, if you look at today's map and you see, Savannah and Jacksonville are pretty close together,
Okay.
and so uh, um, the Oglethorpe and it was referred to in the histories. It's referred to as the British Army, but most of the folks who were here were Scots,
Hmm.
of different family names, but a lot of Scots. The most famous one was a fellow whose name was John Moore Mackintosh, and
Yes.
he was definitely heavily involved. And I assume he was a large man. That's how he got the name Moore.
Hmm.
because he was, I guess, a pretty large man. And there was a McGillivray involved in it as well.
Hmm.
In fact, I think his name was Alexander McGillivray,
Yes.
and they were there, and the main reason, as I understood it, that Oglethorpe recruited Highland Scots was because he knew that they were very tough, that they were from the Highlands, and the Highlands at that time were pretty unsettled,
Hmm.
and that they knew how to farm, how to live off the land. Uh, they knew how to fight,
Yep.
and so those were the two qualities that he was most interested in, because he wanted, number one, as you said, he wanted to protect against the Spanish
Right.
moving northward, and he also wanted to. Uh, Back then, of course, that part of it was called backcountry because it was, you get off the coast and it was pretty much wilderness.
Hmm.
As soon as you got inland just a few miles, you were in what's referred to as the backcountry.
The pine barrens and such.
Yeah, there were lots of pine trees, but back then there would have also been a lot of native hardwoods too.
Uh-huh.
Um, we have a place just down the road from where I live called the Congaree National Park,
Hmm.
and it's preserved, and it has the largest stand of trees that were here a long time ago.
Ah,
And when you go into that forest, you see lots of hardwoods. Um, the pines, I think, was certainly there were pine forests, but the pines came later after the people had gotten here and they cut. In fact, the Creek Indians were pretty good at cutting trees, and they were bringing them down the river. I guess what's now the Savannah River down to Savannah, and they cut them. They overcut them, and pretty soon there weren't any forests anymore.
I know.
So,
Yep.
but uh, again, we were again in the around here, we refer to that period of time as the back country, and it would have
Okay.
been very rough, very unsettled, obviously. And the only people who were in that part of the back country were the Native Americans, the tribes that had settled this region. That they say that, and this has been a big thing lately, talking about how long man has lived in this area, and
Hmm.
they've been able to find, I guess, fossilized information or other things. Humans first were living here about 13,000 years ago
Incredible.
in this part of the world.
Right.
Some would even suggest that there were people here before there were people in the United Kingdom.
Hmm.
I can't substantiate that, but it's a fascinating thing to think about.
Right. John Moore Mackintosh, is uh he would have been there about what the 1740s then, I guess, or something like
In the
that. Oglethorpe
in
started
the
his campaign.
1730s,
Okay.
um, um, Oglethorpe, again, being very specific, he sent a fellow I believe it was a McGillivray, sent him to Inverness with the express purpose of trying to recruit Highland Scots to come
Yes.
to Georgia and to settle Georgia. And they came there, and I used to have a book. I thought I did. I've turned over most of my books to Sean, who's
Ah,
doing a lot of convening now. As you know, I used to convene a lot,
yep.
and I had a lot of books, and one of them was the manifest from the ship Anne. It was called Anne,
Hmm.
and it sailed from Inverness around 1732 to Georgia, and
Wow.
that was the beginnings of the colonization of Georgia under
Wow.
Oglethorpe and these fellows he recruited from the Highlands. So, and one of the things that took place was, as it happens, the the men who were there, the ones that were single, there, as I understand it, there would have been some women too, but the men, I guess, became enamored with some of the Native American women,
Yep.
and they married some of them, and that's why you end up with William Mackintosh, who is a big figure in that period of time.
Mm.
Uh, he had lots of doings with the Creek/Cherokee Indians,
Yes.
and he was an interesting character because he was very light skinned, maybe almost white,
Hmm.
and so he could sort of go back and forth between the two, between the Native Americans and the white settlers, and he established a plantation. He owned slaves. He he was quite the entrepreneur, I guess I would say.
Yes.
And ultimately, it would cost him his life. Um, he was eventually, I was trying to think of the date. I guess it would have been 1835, maybe. Anyway,
It was
he
25, actually 25 when he was executed, Carl.
he was executed by a group of uh, Creek law enforcement, is what they
Mm.
call themselves.
Yep.
He had a police force himself at one point,
Hmm.
but anyway, he was dragged. They burned his plantation. He had a plantation, as I said. They burned his home. They dragged him out. And they shot him several times, and then they stabbed. The account says they stabbed him in the heart, and they shot him. I think they said 24 times.
Wow.
So they didn't like him very much.
Right.
But at any rate, uh, the other story that I like to tell is the one about the Battle of Bloody Marsh.
Oh, okay.
Uh, it happens in this same period, uh, and as I've been told the story, I can't find anything written down specifically about this. But as I was told the story, Oglethorpe actually um, requested requested some British soldiers to come over. Now, some of those probably would have been Scots, and some of them also from England, I suppose,
Uh-huh.
and Wales. The United Kingdom. Back then, I think British troops were, I guess, from all the nations. I don't know about Ireland, but at any rate, so they they knew that the Spanish were trying to advance north. And as I understand it, or the stories I've been told, the Spanish wanted to, as you referred to earlier, they wanted to actually invade South Carolina, and they wanted to capture Charleston.
Okay.
I'm not sure at that time exactly what the status of Savannah was,
Hmm.
but anyway, so Oglethorpe arranged to have some British soldiers brought over, and I was told that they brought regimental uniforms with them so that the Scots who were already here could dress in their regimental uniforms. And if you
Okay.
go to the Battle of Bloody Marsh website, you see the I've actually been able to go there. They have a couple of plaques, and on the plaque you see these folks who look like Highlanders,
Yeah.
dressed in their kilts and their hose and flashes, and their bonnets, their balmorals,
Yep.
and uh, and they're firing at the Spanish. There was apparently an advance group of Cubans who were supposedly really outstanding, like the Green Berets of the Spanish army, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And one of the other things that I was told was that the Spanish were really afraid of the Highland Scots. They had heard all these things about them, that they would, as you know, sometimes
Hmm.
um, they would go into battle, totally naked, and they
Right.
had this wild hair, and they would go and they'd scream, and it must have
Yep.
been pretty unsettling. If you're on the other side of that, imagine it was pretty unsettling.
I'm sure.
Uh, so the Spanish had heard about the reputation of these Scottish, in particular, soldiers, and they were pretty worried about him. And so they're trying to advance north along the Georgia coast. And I guess there were actually two battles. One was at Frederica and one was at Bloody Marsh. But at any rate, uh, according to what I've read, there were only seven Spanish soldiers that were killed, but they
Huh.
retreated because, again, I think they were afraid
Yep.
of the Scots.
Right.
And the other way I like to tell the story is the Spanish were moving north. They met the Scottish British Army one time. They went back to Florida and they never came back again. I think that's the way I like to tell the story anyway.
Right.
They were
Gone
so
is gone.
afraid that they just said, we're not going to mess with those guys. We're just
Right.
going to go back to Florida and keep up what we're doing down there. You see Spanish names in parts of Georgia, but you don't see any Spanish names in South Carolina or North Carolina.
Right. They saw those Scots and said, "What was it up in there? And we wanted so bad. I can't remember what that was. Let's go home." Right.
Yeah, yeah. They were really afraid of them.
Yep.
And they had a reputation. I guess by that time the British Army had been colonizing all over the world, and as you know, a lot of those British regiments were made up of Scots,
Mhm.
and they did a lot of the dirty work for the British Army, and they were really good at it. So they had a reputation for sure, and the Spanish were very, very aware of it. Uh, and again, it's probably not exactly what happened, but it's the way I like to tell the story anyway.
Right.
There used to be a Highland Games, at one of the forts down there. I think it's Fort King George. You remember Ed Judas?
Sure.
He used to convene down there. I
Yep.
don't think we have, unless our new president, Mike and Allen, she might be convening in Savannah. I'm not sure, or not. I'm sure she does Savannah, but it was more like a weekend demonstration kind of a thing at Fort King George, and
Right.
they uh, Ed and Sigrid used to go down there and do those games. Uh, so, uh, as you know, too, the grandfather games just concluded,
Indeed.
and I was a little disappointed. I don't know if you follow Sean. I got lots of photographs from lots of people, but I didn't get hardly any from Sean or Mike, and really. And
Oh, is
she
that
was
right?
there. I know she was there with the Sams, and she was probably helping out some with the Mackintosh tent.
Oh, yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just yeah, I've seen some things from well, Diana DeBruin was there with the
yeah,
Klein Hatton tent. She's been
yeah.
doing that for a while and a whole group around her as well. Um, yeah, I just talked to Dan Durant yesterday on a Zoom here, like so we talked about the Clan Mackintosh North America for a few minutes, so that was nice. Um,
Yeah.
we mentioned all the doings down there this weekend as well, and the fact that you're having the AGM in Pleasanton, California at the end of August
Oh, yeah.
for the
I guess I
CMNA.
miss,
Yes.
I missed that. I thought that we were going to be coming back east. it's hard to get to anything out that far out for me at least. I guess some people it's not a problem, uh, but anyway, the other thing, of course, coming up here in just a couple of weeks is the AGM of Clan Hatton in Scotland,
Okay.
which is always a big do and a lot of fun.
Hmm.
Uh, I've been able, I was able to go over there 3 times uh, for the Hatton AGM,
Yep.
and it's a wonderful affair. I wish I could get back over there now because John and his wife and daughter are there now, so they're staying there now. Um, I believe Celia's health has gotten a little bit worse.
I
Um,
understand that. Yes.
you you remember Stuart and uh,
Sure, Louisa. Sure.
Louisa, yeah. At one time, I thought they were actually thinking about building a house on the estate, but I don't know how that's. I don't know if that's happening or not.
Hmm.
So that they could help out a little bit with some of the stuff.
Right. Yeah.
I've sort of lost contact. The last time I was over there was in 2009. It's hard to imagine that it's been that long, since I've been over.
Mm.
But maybe we'll get back someday.
Yeah. We first met up at Loon Mountain, Kyle. Um,
Yeah,
just a little before I started doing the tents, probably, or right around there.
yeah, yeah,
With Rob Mackintosh up here in New England, and then I came
yeah,
down your way for Grandfather Mountain twice,
yeah.
which was a great
Well,
time as well.
well, I'm excited to see Clan Hatton, and especially with your efforts, Clan Hatton begin to draw some attention in the right way. As you know, um, and I assume that this Clan Hatton USA still exists.
I I don't consider it to no.
Well, no, but do they still have activities? I
That's what
know
I
that we
mean.
don't really recognize them, but
I don't believe so, no.
okay,
I
well,
would
that's good.
I may be wrong.
That's
If anyone out there contradicts me, that's fine, but I don't consider them an organization any longer. There's a Facebook group called that makes it seem like it might have a life. I don't think it does. I'll
right.
just say that right out.
Yeah. Well, I think that the Clan Hatton in the UK has seems to me over the past 20 years has become a lot more organized, partly because of I think the efforts of Donald and Denise McIntosh and then Alan McLean. I
Hmm.
think that and the organization that went behind the re-signing of the bond of union that was just incredible. And
Yes.
so I think uh, I guess they're gaining some traction. I know that over there they don't convene as Mackintosh. They convene as Clan Hatton.
Yes.
Um, and I know that I think Denise and Donald are doing a lot of that. Um, I know they do the Inverness games, and they may do the ones at Braemar. I don't know for sure, but I know they do the ones at Inverness.
Yes.
So those are all good things, I think, in terms of how we all try to understand this strange beast called Clan Hatton.
Right.
Even in the literature, it says it's a unusual clan, and it is for sure.
Yes. So I'm very pleased to know that you're following along with my efforts, Carl, and that you approve. It's very important to me, someone like yourself, uh, to hear
Oh
that from
yeah,
you. That's huge for me. Very, very big. Thank you so much.
oh yeah. I've really enjoyed the posts that you've made from the various games that you attend. Um, and you aren't there some coming up like
Hmm.
this weekend in Maine or somewhere?
In Massachusetts, actually, I'm going to be at Northampton, Mass. The Glasgow
Okay,
Lands, it's called.
yeah. But is there one in Maine as well this weekend?
I don't
Not
believe
sure.
so. There might
Yeah.
be, but maybe one I'm not aware of. But the bigger main games is in August, at the end of August,
Okay. Maybe
uh,
that's the
six,
one I saw.
16 and 17 August. There is a
Yeah,
Belfast Celtic Festival. I'm not just sure when that is. That could be the one. That could be the one that coincides with this Glasgow Lands and Mass. I
yeah,
don't consider that a Games for Clans. It's called the Belfast Celtic Festival.
yeah,
They have tried to get clans, but it's more of a, when they say Celtic Festival, I right away think mostly music. Not that there's anything wrong with music, but I think that's their focus.
yeah. I think you're
They're
right.
not a
That
Highland
sounds.
Games. I don't believe there's games going on. If there is, it's more exhibition than competition.
Mm, yeah. So, uh, so back to Georgia.
Yeah,
We got
only for a
getting
few
off
minutes,
track
but
here.
yes.
So, one of the things that I have said to you a couple of times, um, is the whole business of, I got to meet Shinobi Mackintosh,
Hmm.
and I met, his sister Willie. I met her one time in Atlanta. In fact, I thought you were there that year. Did you come to Atlanta one year?
No, I've not been to Stone Mountain.
Well, anyway, I met her there, and of course, Alta Bierman, who used to be a big part of Clan Mackintosh, um, she was related to Shinobi in some way. But
Now, can we say who Shinobi is, please?
well, Shinobi was one of Dode Mackintosh's children. And I can't. I know Willie was one. There's another one.
She
He had five children, I believe. Chinobi, I mean, Dode Mackintosh.
and he's a figure in the Native American figure who's a Macintosh as well.
Yes, Dode Mackintosh.
Dude,
He was
okay.
he's real significant because he was a prime mover in the establishment of Clan Mackintosh North America.
Okay. Thank
Um,
you. Yeah.
he you know, back in the day, there were two Clan Mackintoshes in the country.
Yes.
One was primarily in Georgia at the Stone Mountain Games, and the other one was primarily in I guess the Grandfather Mountain Highland Games. And
Okay.
they managed to get together and do whatever they needed to do. And
Right.
that's Dode Mackintosh uh, was the person who actually took the document over um, to Scotland, to Moy,
Yes.
and got Lachlan, John's father, got Lachlan to sign the official agreement that recognized the one Clan Mackintosh North America.
And this
And
is 73, right, Kyle?
that sounds about right. I don't remember. It was 73 or 75, but yeah,
Yeah, they
that's
just
about
had the
right.
50th and 23.
Okay, yeah. So,
Yeah, we only have about 3 minutes left here, by the way, my friend.
okay. Well, we need to do this again.
Yes.
I probably have some more stories I can tell
Yeah, let's
about
do
this
that.
and that. So I'd love to share with your group some of the things that took place during the re-signing of the bond of union. I was reading about that, and
Sure.
um, my friend Frank Shaw he passed away. He was in Atlanta. He wrote a really nice story in the Burns newsletter that goes out in Atlanta
Hmm.
about uh, the band, the bond of union.
Okay.
He's a Shaw. He was a Shaw,
Yep.
and so that's something we should spend maybe a session on, just describing what happened and
Right.
how it came to be and all that, because it helps. I think it'll help people understand why why there is this confederation of clans.
Good. Yeah, I told you on the phone the other day I can keep you busy if you let me. Like
Okay.
you have a lot
Well,
of directions we can take within your knowledge, and thank you for that.
right. Yeah. So call me or text me or something, and we can
Hmm.
set up another date where we can get together and chat some more. And then again, if July is Macintosh month, I'll be happy to do it again here. Do it again this month. Um,
Sure.
whenever it's good for you.
All right. Sounds good, Kyle. Thanks so much for coming on the Chestnut channel. Great to see you again.
Great to see you, Ray, and I look forward to spending some more time with you.
All righty. Take care, my friend.
You too.
Touch not, everyone.
Like Moy.
Indeed. Bye-bye, sir.
Bye bye.